Here we go. Hi,
Very good.
everybody. Welcome to Decoding Your Superpowers. I'm Teresa Lisum, and I have some awesome women here with me today. I have Linda Karchner, I have Jane Liebecker, and we have a guest whose report we're going to go over today, Kathy Lill. So, Kathy, thank you so much for your willingness to play with us and let us dig into your persona with you here.
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
We're thrilled when somebody's here in person. So
Yeah.
this way we can get real-time feedback
Mhm.
as to how on point we are.
Okay.
So thank you for playing with us. So we are going to talk a little bit about an overview of what this whole strength concept is about, and I'll let you ladies handle this, explain in whatever way you want, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up the report so we can take a gander at it.
Right. So the Clifton Strengths Assessment is an online assessment that is through the Gallup company. That's Gallup. And Gallup is way more than Clifton Strengths. They're a huge research company, but they partnered with Don Clifton. Oh, I don't even know how many years ago it was. And Don Clifton is the called the father of positive psychology. And his whole premise was, what if we focus on what is right about people? And so out of that was birthed the Strengths Finders, is what they used to call it. And then after Don Clifton passed away, like kind of in tribute to him, they changed the name to Clifton Strengths. And it has 34 positive qualities that are universal qualities in the human species. All of us have each one of the 34, but in our own unique combination. So your number one is going to be different than Kathy's and Jane's and mine and Teresa's, um, possibly. But even if not, even if you do have the same number one, it's going to play in its own unique way with your other strengths and the order that you find them. And we generally look at the top 10 strengths in the report, and we call that the zone of genius. And we also take a look at the bottom five, and that gives us a sense of liberation about what we don't have to be. And if you maybe have your top five uh, report. Maybe you got it through your job or through a college or something like that. They tend to just get the top five,
Mhm.
but the rest of the goodies are there waiting for you. You can contact Gallup and they will be, for a small price, willing to unlock the full 34 report for you. So we are looking at the big picture here. We're seeing the whole enchilada, and we're going to see what is beautiful about Kathy and what is unique about her. So we're really looking forward to that.
Thank you, Linda. And I love that this is shining a light on what is unique and beautiful about every single person on this planet because we are all different. Yes, we all have these 34 strengths, characteristics that, play out in different ways for us, but we're all unique in the way of the order that they all fall in and the way they play together. So it's just a beautiful thing to actually dig in and see how everybody's uniqueness shows up. So, as Linda said, thank you, Linda. We focus on these top 10, the zone of genius. That's where you are your most energized, your most authentic, your most productive, your most creative self. And we don't call these weaknesses down at the bottom end of the report, or the last couple, but they're just strengths that don't energize you anyway. They don't really serve you. You don't get anything out of them, of using them. And almost might de-energize you and just make you feel kind of weird or come out cross kind of weird.
Mhm.
So we may look at these today. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah.
But the first thing I do with a report is I look at the top 10. You can see there's some colors here that go over here and that match with these categories or these themes. So I count up the colors and I put those strengths into a category. So there's a lot of blue here. So
Yeah.
that is the relationship building theme. That is a person who loves to connect with the right people. Purple, a little bit of purple here. That is a person who falls in the executing domain, we call them, which is a doer, likes to make things happen. And then there's an influencing domain where people that are really dominant there and have a lot of strengths that fall in that domain, they love to move people forward from point A to point B. And then they can see all the steps and the ways they get that person to that end result. That is what energizes them. And then if there's a lot of green, then that person loves to think, learn, and create. They love to really do things within their head and by themselves. And so if you have three strengths in a particular domain or category, it's really important to you. If you have four, it's even more important to you. If it has five, it's really important. So you could see where I'm going. The more strengths you have in a category or a domain, the more that particular domain energizes you.
Mhm.
So, ladies, what is Kathy's dominant domain?
She is a super connector.
Yes,
This
relationship builder.
relationship building. And I love
Heavily so.
good solid executing there with three in her top 10,
Mhm.
but the six relationship building, that's just beautiful.
So her dominant domain is relationship building.
Hmm.
Kathy, do you have a really strong desire to connect with people?
Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That is.
That energizes you, that lights you
Mhm.
up. That is where
That's
you're
right.
your best version of yourself when you're working with, collaborating, connecting, talking with people. Yes.
That's very true. Yes.
And then executing is your secondary domain. You have three there. So a secondary domain is just, it's important. It's just not as important as that relationship building domain.
Right.
So an executor is a person who likes to make things happen,
Mhm.
might have a lot of to-do lists. How's that feel for you, Kathy?
It is. It is. It's not quite probably as strong as my relationship, but
Right, right.
I do like things to get accomplished.
Uh-huh.
Do
The
you
way.
like to accomplish those things with people?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I actually noticed that. So I have, um, so we have five children, and I used to be able to like clean house, but we'd always do it all together.
Mm.
So as they've grown up, but I have a harder time cleaning my own house, but I love to go clean their
Right.
houses with them. So it's just one thing I thought of.
I feel you there.
There you go. It's so much more fun with other people involved.
It is.
And I'm guessing, and just when you're with people and you're energized and you're up there flying high with people, do you feel like if you're alone for a certain period of time, can you feel your energy kind of deflate and like you have to get back with people to bring yourself back up again? How does that play out for you?
That it's really true, especially I noticed during when we couldn't go out and be with people,
Mm,
it really took, I think, a toll on me. And luckily, we were able to be with our family, but I have I really, really missed the gatherings and
that's a good
doing so.
point. I
Mhm.
didn't think about that for relationship builders. That probably was a very tough time. Whereas the strategic thinkers, they loved it. They loved being by themselves and having that time to think and learn and do things on their own. Yeah, I have a daughter that absolutely loved it.
I have 4 relationship building strengths in my top 10, but my relator is at like 13. So, and I also am a high strategic thinker. So that kind of didn't bother me. I was with my family and
Mhm.
that was what was important. So that was enough for me.
And it's interesting that once we understand this about ourselves and about other people,
Yeah,
we can relate to them more. We can give them grace. We can understand them
right.
more. Like Kathy was going nuts because she couldn't get out with people, and maybe if I was with her and I was a strategic thinker, I might have been like, what? Why can't you just sit and relax? Whatever. But understanding that about her would have helped me to like, oh, I get you. I know why you're like that, and so it's a very empowering for me personally to understand the concept of strengths, to know somebody else's strengths, know my own, and be able to kind of see it from their perspective and
Mhm.
understand their way of thinking and showing up in the world. Even if you don't know somebody else's strengths, you can just kind of guess and, decide for yourself that they might be a
Mhm.
relationship builder, they might be a strategic thinker. And that kind of helps me be more accepting of that person. So let's take a look at some of these strengths. Number one is always the highest energy, the highest energizing strength. So let's talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the strength that sits at number 5. And let's just kind of see how they show up for you, Kathy. So, an includer is a person who wants everybody to come to the party, jump on the train with us. Let's all go together. Does that sound something like you?
Yes, very much so, very much so. I
Doesn't want to
can't
leave
just,
anybody out.
Right.
that's right, I don't.
Kind of
I,
that champion for the underdog, the person who's sort of the um like the outlier. Like you would take your lunch and go sit with them in the school cafeteria if they
Mhm.
were by
Mm,
themselves because you didn't want them to feel alone or feel, like a social outcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter about your reputation.
That's right. So I think it actually stems from when I was young and I'm not very tall and I was a really small, petite child. And
Uh,
so they used to do where they'd pick
oh,
teams,
mhm,
and I was always the very last one
yes.
picked
mm,
because nobody thought I could, I wouldn't be able to kick that ball very
Right.
far. And so I've thought about that a lot, and it's like I think that might be where it stems from, that I
Right.
just
Yeah.
want to make everybody feel welcome and important.
Yeah. Neat.
mm.
And I
Love
love
that.
how that goes hand in hand with your number 5, developer. Like a developer is someone who sees the potential in someone else. They see that, whether maybe not literally, but figuratively speaking, they see that this person has the ability to kick a ball. And
Mm,
maybe it's in your
mhm.
in your doTERRA business. Like you can see the potential in that person to be a business partner or to share the oils with their friends or something like that. And you want to cheer that on. So not only do you include them in the group, but you point out to them the things that are strong about them, their strengths.
Yes.
He does.
It's just even, it's kind of hard because then it's hard because I can see it, I feel it, but then it's hard for them to see it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Do you feel like you can hold that belief in their potential for them, even if they can't see it?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I do.
Hmm.
Even after I've done doTERRA for 15 years and some of them I still believe in them.
Yeah. I know you've got it in you.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, and a developer is a person who wants that other person to believe in themselves as well. And yeah.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure we understand that the strengths are for other people as well as for ourselves.
Mm.
So I just talked to somebody yesterday who felt they were very good at, she had developer as well up at maybe at number 5 or somewhere around there. She could do that for other people, but it
Yeah.
was hard for her to turn that on herself.
That's how I am.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So the strengths are for ourselves as much as they are for other people.
Hmm.
So
And
that's
I have to say, I join everything that I think that I might be able to improve myself. And if you look at my list on my Audible, it's all about making me
Self-improvement.
better.
Yeah.
Self-improvement.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, learner right there sitting at number 8.
Uh-huh.
So you're a person who loves to learn, constantly learning, and you just validated that by what you said.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And you got input at number 11. So
Yes.
even though we focus on the top 10, 11, 12, 13, those are still tools that people pull out and use, and they show up for them. Maybe not as dominantly as some other strengths, but I would say that's probably your input strength peaking up there.
Oh,
So let's see, what else do we have here that we want to dig into? You have any questions about any of them, Kathy, I know some people are not they don't embrace certain strengths about themselves, or they just are not clear on what some of them mean. Do you have any strengths that you want us to dig into particularly?
well, let's see. I see harmony a lot in my life. I want everybody to be happy. Um, so I think how about consistency? Because
Mhm.
I think consistency is different than what it says, or
Yes.
connectiveness too.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that one because Gallup has labeled these strengths with certain words. Some of them are very descriptive and they nail the strength totally, like responsibility. That's a really clear one. Consistency is not as clear. So even though it says consistency, that does not mean a person with that strength is really strong in being consistent. And because you don't have consistency in your top 10 doesn't mean you can't be consistent. So it has nothing to do with your level of being consistent in your actions or your behaviors. It's more about treating others with some fairness and some equanimity. Is that the word? Across the board. So you extend the same respect and favors and rules to everybody, irregardless of who they are and how they show up. So
I like
that word is a little off.
there's sort of a relationship building piece to
Mm-hmm.
consistency
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's how you treat other people. Like the important thing for someone with consistency high is that they know that everything is going to be more efficient and effective when you have the same rules that everybody follows across the board. So there's that little piece of people stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, people know what to expect. They know that they're going to get the same Kathy time after time after time, and that she's going to treat, someone who is, I keep going back to your business, and we all know about the doTERRA business, but someone who's higher up, a higher rank in your team, you're going to treat them with the same respect and rules as someone who's just starting, maybe, because you see how that same fairness across the board speaks to people and works and makes things more effective and more efficient.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. And I always
Yeah.
wondered why consistency wasn't considered a relationship building
Yeah.
strength, because you're exactly right. How does that feel, Kathy? How does that show up for you?
I think the way Linda explained it, I think makes it more clear to me. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting how a lot of these have a little bit of a flavor of some of the other domains. And in a different person, it might not be lived out in quite as much of a relationship building oriented.
Yeah, if somebody had 7 executing
Yeah.
strengths,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
it would be different.
Yeah.
More about processes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
My
thank
niece
you.
has 7 executing strengths, and she's not she does not crave time with people.
She just wants to get stuff done.
Right?
Yeah.
Little Energizer Bunny, I'm guessing.
So,
You have belief sitting right there,
I noticed.
Kathy. How does that play out for you?
I think I've tried to figure out exactly how that fits in. But I think my belief in, well, since we're talking about Torah, my belief in doTERRA is super strong. And even though things have gone up, have gone down, I still believe I still have that strong belief in the company and in
Right.
the oils and um, in everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really feel like it's, one of the best self-development programs out
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, for
Sure.
sure.
And so
For
it
sure.
kind of fits kind of my belief with, uh, and I believe in my little doTERRA family, I believe in them. I just, I love them unconditionally and just accept them for who they are and appreciate all of them. So
That's great.
I think I just probably included my top 5 there. Right.
Yeah,
But yeah,
belief is a powerful
Oh, it
strength.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it could be it is very unwavering and very solid
Mhm.
um and it'd be interesting. I know you have to go, Kathy, but to see how belief is applied out in your other areas of your life, just besides your doTERRA business. But
Mhm.
I said, I know you have to leave, but belief is a very value-based, very value-oriented strength.
Yeah.
yes, and I have learned that it's sometimes better to not say anything to keep relationships and keep harmony. I've
Uh-huh.
learned that you just have to bite your tongue.
I
Yeah.
was I was going to say, yeah, harmony was peaking up there.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
those strong core values, um, it's better to just kind of put a damper on them a little bit. Not that you would ever do anything that would like conflict with your values, but not always talk about them and put them forth if
Yeah.
harmony needs to be agreed.
Want to be agreeable. And
Right.
and if a person does have high belief, I think it's important that they do get clear on their values.
Yeah.
Because some people don't have clarity on that. So even though they have belief high, they might not know and understand what their belief is in, in which set of values. And so it's very important. I mean, it's important for everybody to know their values, but especially a person of high belief, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So they can explain them to other people.
Yes,
That's a good point.
exactly.
Yeah.
And when you do know and understand your strengths, yes, it's easier to articulate and explain and communicate to others why you show up a certain way, why you think the way you do, why you take certain actions.
Can we
Yes.
take like 2 minutes, the last 2 minutes that we have, to just sort of do the liberation of letting Kathy be free of what those bottom
Sure.
strengths would, like we said, bottom strengths are not weaknesses. They're the strengths that de-energize you. You can grab them and use them once in a while, but you don't want to spend too much time there. So you don't have to relate to people and get things done with thinking in the back of your mind that I'm leaving a legacy. I have to leave a legacy. That's the significance. You don't have to be worried about leaving a legacy. You don't have to worry about being number one, being the top dog. Even though you're in Diamond Club right now, probably for you, it is not about winning the top spot. It's about connecting with more people and probably increasing your business. And it's good to increase your monetary aspect of it, but increasing the relationships and the family that you have. So, and you don't have to tell people what to do. You don't have to be the boss and go in and take charge of all the chaos and be the ones, standing up on a table and shouting orders to people. You don't have to be that person. And you don't have to be the one coming up with 4 or 5 ideas about how to solve a problem. And you don't have to be like the ready, fire, aim person. Because if you try to do that, you're going to have regrets. You're going to be like, why did I do that? I should have thought that through. And you don't have to be the person who's like, oh man, this is good. This is really good. But I'm going to spend lots of time and energy making something good even better. You don't have to do any of those things.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Linda. Beautifully said. So a lot of people just like breathe a sigh of relief. Oh, thank goodness.
Yes.
Yeah. I have command and competition low too, so I feel that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's
Thank
great.
you so
Thank
much,
you.
Kathy. We appreciate you being here.
And you're
We know
off
you have to take
add
off.
to your
So
family,
Yes.
the doTERRA family.
Yes. I
thanks,
just
Kathy.
see the one thing I wanted to say about my strengths is I see how they're all intertwined with one another.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I just think that's super interesting.
Mhm.
So, but I love them. I love learning about the strengths, and I really appreciate you guys taking your time and going over my strengths. I love learning more about them.
You.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Good
Kathy.
luck.
Hey, have
Good
a great
luck with
meeting.
your diamond
New
club.
with your new relationship. that you're gonna
Yes.
take.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
I
Do
don't
you
know how
ladies want to just take 1 or 2 more moments to wrap it up here? I do want to mention, which I forgot at the beginning, for our viewers, that these middle strengths, we don't really even pay attention to them. They're just neutral, no energy. Any of these that we think we might need, we can substitute one of our top 10 strengths for. So everything in this middle part can be done with our top 10. So if you see something in your middle that like, oh, I wish I had that one higher. No, put that aside. You don't need it because you have these at least 10 other ones that are going to take the place of that particular one. So no strengths are better than other strengths. They're all the same. Like Kathy said, they all weave together in a beautiful tapestry so that we show up as our infinitely unique selves.
And she, she has influencing strengths super low, a bulk of them, but obviously she's influencing people.
Yes, yes.
And it may not be the person who is with a microphone up on stage influencing a whole group, but she's influencing people, moving people forward 1, 2, 3, 5 at a time, as she's going and meeting with people one-on-one and, touching base with them and focusing on including them and focusing on what's good about them and strong. So, and she has positivity and empathy there in her top 10. So just what a lovely person. Just like the kind of person you would want to be your friend. Definitely who has relationships top priority.
She's incredibly loyal.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Wow. Well, anything else anybody want to say before we conclude here today?
Wow, I think you do a fabulous job of explaining things.
We have fun with it, don't we,
Yes,
Teresa?
we do. We do. So thank you, ladies, for being part of this. Thank you to everybody who's viewing this. We appreciate you showing up. And if you have your own strengths that you'd like to share with us, please pass it along to us. You can see we just need that one page, even though Gallup gives us a whole lot of information. We like to just look at that one page for this. Get it over to us, either one of us.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy to dig into it, whether you're on camera with us or not.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your strengths assessment, we can connect you with that as well. You do have to pay Gallup a little bit of money. So you have to make an investment in yourself.
Right.
So that they
investment.
so they can, have you take the assessment on their platform and then compile the results, like literally instantaneously. So once those results are generated, that's when the fun begins. That's when you can really dig in and see how these strengths combine to make you the most awesome you on the planet. Okay, my friends, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We will be here again next Tuesday, digging into another strength report.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.